All right, well, thanks for the invite. So let's talk about what's happening right now. I'm the senior advisor to the President of the United States. Working title is Border Czar. So what am I doing? President Trump gave me three things to do, three responsibilities. One, secure the border. Two, run a deportation operation, the largest deportation operation this country's seen. I'm going to tell you in a minute why that's important. And three, to find missing children. And we're going to find those missing children. I love it. Thank you for making my day. I love haters. They make my day every day. So let's talk about the truth of what's going on the border. The Biden administration created the most significant immigration crisis in the history of this nation. We want the most secure border in my lifetime to unprecedented illegal immigration. Well, now we got President Trump, who happens to be the greatest president of my lifetime, back in office, and we're going to secure the border. We've already done it. We're going to run the biggest deportation operation in the history of this nation, and we're going to find these missing kids. So where are we at? In a matter of weeks, we have illegal border crossings down 94% in weeks. President Trump did in 5 weeks what Joe Biden wouldn't, or didn't even attempt to do in 4 years, which proved that he had the ability to do it all along. He didn't need new laws from Congress. As he said, one of his best lines on the Capitol Hill, we just need a new president, and we got him. You know, I woke up every day pissed off for 4 years of what the Biden administration came in and unsecured the most secure border we've ever had on purpose, not by accident, not by mismanagement. This was done on purpose. This was done by design. And when you got 94% less people coming, how many women ain't being raped every day by the cartel? How many children aren't dying on the border every day? How many pounds of fentanyl is not getting into the country to kill Americans? How many people on terrorist watch lists aren't coming to our border? How many people are being released in the United States? I'll tell you right now. The first 2 months under Joe Biden, February and March, they released 184,000 illegal aliens in this country. Same time for President Trump, 9. 4 of them were material witnesses on criminal investigation, 4 were significant. They like to say how inhumane Trump's policies are. He's a racist, I'm a racist, whatever. The fact is, we're saving lives every day on that southern border. You want to talk about inhumanity? Let's look at the Biden administration. 4 years in power, we had over 4,000 aliens died making that journey, a historic record. We had 250,000 Americans die from fentanyl comes across the border. 400 in their administration, under Trump's first administration, 13. What's it at now? 1. And they didn't get released in the United States. So the border's secure right now. I looked at the most important number to me is gotaways. Gotaways, people that cross the border, we got a visual. You got either foot traffic, you got drone traffic, drone video, you got camera video, or sensors. 2.2 million known gotaways, people that came in this country, we don't know who they are, where they come from, or why they're here. Average under Joe Biden, 1,800 a day across the border weren't apprehended because the Border Patrol was so overwhelmed, changing diapers, making baby formula, making hospital runs, they were pulled off the line. 1,800 gotaways a day. What was it yesterday? 41. 41 from 1,800. Is that good? It's very good. I'll be happy when it's 0. Then we have this administration right now in power is going to have, for the first time in history of this nation, have total operational control of our southern border under President Trump. It's going to happen. You can take that to the bank. Now let's talk about interior enforcement operators, the second part, running mass deportation operators. I read every day about what a racist, hateful thing that is, to saying you have a mass deportation operation. Now, when you had 4 years of massive illegal migration on the southern border, here's what you need to know. Millions of people come to the border, make an asylum claim. Asylum is you're escaping fear and persecution from your home government because of race, religion, political affiliation, or participation in a specific social group. That's what asylum is. We got millions of people that come to our southern border, demanding the right to claim asylum, demanding the right to see a judge. And they were given that. They got their due process, and guess what? 9 out of 10 will end up with an order removal because 9 out of 10 made a fraudulent asylum claim. They don't qualify for asylum. They said a few key words and released in the United States by the last administration. So at the end of historic illegal immigration, where millions of people come across the border, 9 out of 10 of them will end up with an order of removal from a federal judge. That's why there's going to be massive deportation operation. You can't demand due process and ignore the decision in the end of that due process, which is an order removal. The law requires it. That's exactly what's going to happen. There are going to be consequences. And if we don't do it, if we send the whole world a message, enter the United States illegally, it's a crime. Go in front of an immigration judge and lose the case, or not show up at all and get an order in absentia, but we're not going to look for you, we don't have to leave. If that's the message we send the whole world, you're never going to fix our borders. Well, you'll fix it during one administration through executive orders. But that's the message we send the whole world. It's okay to enter this country legally. It's okay to make a fraudulent asylum claim. And you can ignore a judge's order. If I ignore a judge's order, I'd be in jail. So we're going to enforce the laws of this country without apology. So that's why there's going to be massive deportation operation, because the last administration caused a massive illegal immigration crisis where 90% of the people shouldn't be here. So that's going to happen. The numbers now are good. We've arrested more people in the first 2 months under the Trump administration than Joe Biden did all year last year. I'm happy. I'm not satisfied. I was at a panel this morning. ICE director sitting next to me. I want more. There's hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens in this nation with criminal records that walk in the streets. We need to find every single one of them and get them out of this country. Now, I read in the media every day that, Homan is not keeping its promises. We're not concentrating on the worst words. President Trump said day one, we'll concentrate on the public safety threats and national security threats first. That would be the priority. But I've been clear from day one, if you're in the country illegally, you're not off the table. Prioritization. I can prioritize my family life, doesn't mean I ignore my work life. Prioritization about who we go after first, but in the meanwhile we're doing that, if we find a non-criminal illegal alien, they're coming too. It's not okay to be in this country illegally. And people hate on me for that. If you're in the country illegally, you should be looking over your shoulder. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime. I wouldn't feel comfortable being in another country. And here's what they're not telling you. Why is there so many non-criminals being arrested and put in jail? Again, the vast majority of criminals, but why there's a higher than expected number of collaterals? Because of sanctuary cities. If we can't arrest a bad guy in a county jail, and that county jail is going to release that public safety threat back in the public, which is just stupid to begin with, that means I got to send the whole team to the community to find the bad guy, and we will find him. And when we find him, many times he's with others who may not be a public safety threat, but here illegally. And ICE is going to arrest them because that is their job, that's the oath they took, and that's the laws of this nation. The last administration, Alejandro Mayorkas, who everything he did was borderline treasonous, told ICE officers, immigration officers who took an oath to enforce the law saying, you can't arrest somebody for being here illegally unless he is convicted of a serious offense. He rewrote the immigration law. No, we're letting ICE do their job. And when you're out there looking for that bad guy, if you find an illegal alien, you take him too, and he's coming too, and he'll be detained. We're going to enforce the laws of this country without apologies. Sanctuary cities. So so-called sanctuary cities, you're going to get exactly what you don't want. You can get more officers in your neighborhood, you can get more collateral arrests because you force this in those neighborhoods. And I'm sick and tired of hearing the talking point, well, we're a welcoming community, we're a sanctuary city, because we want victims and witnesses of a crime that live in the immigrant community to feel safe coming to law enforcement to report that crime. That is a bunch of garbage. A victim and witness of crime don't want the bad guy back out there either. So what we want is access to the jail. We had no problem when that man was in office. Matter of fact, he called us up when someone was in jail we might have missed. Joe Arpaio. That's the way it should be. If the local law enforcement agency locks somebody in a jail cell, that tells you one thing. He's obviously not a choir boy. He's locked in a jail cell. You locked him in a jail cell for some reason, most likely a public safety threat. Give us access to that guy. That's the guy we want to talk to. We don't want to talk to victim and witness. Matter of fact, the victim came to it. They might even get a visa as being a victim of crime. But we don't want to talk about the victim and witness. We don't want to meet him. We want access to the guy you locked up. When you're done with him, give him to us. If you say, well, the detainer's been litigated and people don't think that's constitutional, is making a phone call to us before you release them, is that constitutional? Absolutely it is. So for people who say, well, a lot of non-criminals in custody, Mr. Homan, you're supposed to be concentrating on criminals. Well, guess why? Because sanctuary cities. And we're going to keep doing it. And as far as sanctuary cities, I've been to Boston. I've been to Chicago. No, Chicago said I wasn't welcome. Guess where I was day one of the Trump administration? In Chicago. We arrested TDA members. We arrested illegal aliens with firearms. We arrested illegal aliens, drug traffickers. We arrested 2 illegal aliens that committed homicides. We arrested 9 child rapists. I made a speech at CPAC, and that made the news. Every media. Homan said he's going to Boston, bringing hell with him. Yeah, I said it, and I meant it. Who was I bringing hell to? I was bringing hell to 9 illegal aliens that raped a child and weren't turned over to ICE. They'd rather release them in the community. One of the child rapists, it took us 2 years to find him. How many children did he rape in 2 years where he walked in the streets because that sheriff refused to cooperate with us? So number 2 goal of mine is run this deportation operation. Sanctuary cities are slowing us down because we got to send a whole team now and look for somebody that don't want to be found, but we're going to keep doing it. We'll double the man force in sanctuary cities because they're a big threat to this nation. We will win that battle. Thank God we got Pam Bonnie. She's one badass AG. She's going to sue the sanctuary cities. She's already started. I try not to curse much. If I offend anybody, I don't care. I don't, because I get irritated when I start talking about the false narrative being pushed by the left. What's the third thing we're doing? Finding missing children. Under the Biden administration, 500,000 children are smuggled in this country. Taken out of the hands of their families, given to a criminal cartel to be smuggled in this country. And we're the bad guys? All these people who just walked out, what did they do? Did they speak up about that? Did they speak up to the fact that 300,000 of these children can't be found because they're released to unvetted sponsors? The last administration had one goal: process quick, release quick, because there's no overcrowding. We can say the border security, nothing to see here. These are children. I guarantee you, I've been doing this since 1984. I'm 40 years doing this job. Many of these children are in forced labor or in sex trafficking. Fact. ICE has already found some in forced labor and sex trafficking. Fact. Well, all these people that walked out carrying their signs, do they care? They want to focus on Tom Homan bringing back family detention. Why is Tom Homan talking about family detention? So we can do DNA tests and make sure that child's with a parent and not a trafficker. We're trying to protect children. We're doing the right thing. They say, Tom Homan, the father of family separation. Whatever. What we did in the Trump administration during zero tolerance, Children and women are being raped on the border every day. A child died on the border every day. So we said, let's do zero tolerance, where if you enter the country illegally, which is a crime, we'll prosecute them. And maybe if we prosecute them, they stop coming. They stop putting their children in harm's way. The ladies get out of harm's way of the criminal cartels who don't care about these people. Studies have been done, 31% of women that make that journey get raped by the cartels. So we said, let's prosecute them, maybe the numbers drop. So we'll do zero tolerance. Zero tolerance is about saving lives, stopping rapes of women on the border. And you know what? The border numbers tank that zero policy, but families are separated. Just like law enforcement in this room, just like when I was a cop in New York, United States American families are separated every day by law enforcement. When the parent commits a crime, the child don't go to jail with them. But they want a different set of rules for the illegal aliens. But they're not getting a different set of rules. Zero tolerance worked, the numbers went down. It's sad and unfortunate that families get separated. Law enforcement does it thousands of times across this country. But there's a good meaning behind it. So they want to keep hammering on family separation under Trump, but we got 500,000 kids put in the hands of criminal cartels to be smuggled in this country. They don't say a word about that. If I came here to Arizona next month and I leave my child, even my dog, in the backseat of the car to go and get groceries, I'm going to get arrested. Well, 500,000 people can put their children in the hands of criminal cartels and that's okay? Who knows what happens to some of these children? God help them. Then they release them to unvetted sponsors. Now they can't find, not getting responsible for 300,000 of them. Well, President Trump's committed to do everything he can to find these kids. But I'm going to admit to you right now, that's the toughest job. Of the three things he wants me to do, that's the toughest part of it. Because everybody in this room, you all have a footprint. You own a car, you own a home, you got credit cards, you pay bills. We can find you. Children don't have a footprint, which means we got to count on the footprint of the sponsor. Sponsors weren't properly vetted, sponsors that weren't fingerprinted, sponsors whose identification they showed wasn't validated. And we wonder why 300,000 can't be found. But no one talks about that. For the people who just walked out of the room, did they stand up and raise hell about trafficking of children? Did they raise hell about 300,000 missing kids? Did they raise hell about Laken Riley fighting 17 minutes to survive? That young little girl, picture her last 17 minutes of her life. Terrified little girl who's being assaulted by a scumbag, fighting every minute to survive. She didn't want to die. How many TDA members came to this country, murdered and raped women, burned a woman alive on a subway? None of them want to talk about that. They can walk out of the room and hold all the signs that they want because Tom Homan ain't shutting up and Tom Homan ain't going away. So please raise more signs. I have a lake house in upstate New York up on Lake Ventura where I grew up. Small lake house. I'm up there, my wife's out there most of the summer. I'm up there 1 week in a month because my boss makes me work 7 days a week. I had 1,000 protesters in my lake house this weekend. You think that's going to stop me? Because let me tell you something. I wake up every day tired. Because my boss, he wants numbers, he wants results. I'm working every day. I think since January 20th, my security detail is upset with me because they never get a day off either. But I'm tired. Some mornings I wake up, I'm tired. You know what fires me up? When I read a hit piece. I love it. When I read a hit piece on me, it just throws gas in my fire. Because that means, number one, I'm over the target. Number two, my message is getting out. So hate me all you want. I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. It sounds terrible, don't it? But I don't. My wife asked me not too long ago, "No, babe, does it bother you a big part of this country hates your guts?" Not a bit. Because if they saw what I saw in my 40 years, if they saw what the border sheriffs see every day on the border, they'd understand me. But they're ignorant. They don't want to learn. They don't want to sit here and listen to what I got to say. They'd much rather walk out of the room. But they should. Could they be embarrassed at what the last administration done to this country and what this administration is doing for this country? So I unretired. My wife's a little pissed off because I keep unretiring. I unretired one time, President Trump, and I remember, quick story, I'm out to dinner with my wife. First of all, the first day I smiled in the last 4 years, I think you were there, Joe. I was with the president election night. The next morning, it's the first morning I got up smiling. because I knew we were going to fix it. We were going to save lives. I knew he's going to offer me a job. I pretty much knew it. And the first day I woke up smiling, I knew, okay, we're going to save lives. We're going to find these missing kids. And we're going to secure that border and protect this country. So I was happy. A couple weeks later, I'm out to dinner with my wife, and my cell phone rings. And I had it sitting on the table, and it says, POTUS. My wife looks at it, she goes, oh, shit. He's going to want you to go back. I said, I'll take the phone call. So I took the phone call. The president says, Tom, which he always says, Tom's the old-time favorite president. I said, how you doing, sir? He goes, good. He goes, well, you've been bitching about it for 4 years. You want to fix it? I said, game on. So I was the first selection. I came back, and I didn't hesitate because I take this personal. When you get on your knees to talk to a 9-year-old little girl that's raped multiple times by members of the cartels and everything innocent and pure have been ripped from her life will never be the same, you take it personal. When I stand in the back with a tractor trailer with 19 aliens that baked to death, including a 5-year-old little boy, how they suffered, what a horrible death, I take it personal. I've seen a lot of tragedy on the border, and there's a lot less of it now. I'll say it again, when 94% less people are coming, how many people aren't dying? How many women ain't being raped? How many pounds of fentanyl isn't getting in? How many no-inspected terrorists ain't getting in? How many billions is the cartel's not making? My death threat started day one at the Republican National Convention. I made a statement at that convention that President Trump will designate criminal cartels as terrorist organizations, and he will wipe them off the face of the earth. Death threat started next day from the cartels. Good, they're listening. Because President Trump will wipe them off the face of the earth within the next couple of years. Mark my word. So I was, and they should be designated terrorist organizations. I've been talking to President Trump about this for years. They've killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. We're not going to apologize for removing people through the Alien Enemies Act. They're enemies of this country. Trenda Agua, we know through years of investigation, are embedded with the Venezuelan government, the military, and the police. They send them here to unsettle this country, whether it's through the deaths of fentanyl or the crimes in the city or raping of our children. They come here to cause harm and unsettle this country. They are enemies of this country. President Trump invoked the authorities he has under the Alien Enemies Act to get him the hell out of here. Trenda Agua, MS-13 are now designated terrorist organizations. We will not apologize for sending 2 plane loads of terrorists out of this country. I cannot believe any judge will order anybody bring those 2 plane loads of terrorists back to this country. President Trump is putting America first. Of course, we're litigating that case. We just had a big win on that yesterday. We're going to keep having wins because President Trump's putting America first. He's not going to apologize for removing terrorists from this country ever. And I will not rest if every member of TDA and MS-13 is eradicated from this country. Then I'll take a day off. But until then, hate on me all you want. I know I got a lot of haters in this room, but I don't give a shit. We're going to get this job done with no apologies. When we're done, we have the most secure border in the history of this nation. We're going to make this country safer. Every criminal alien we arrest, every gang member we arrest, every TDA MS-13 member we arrest get out of the country makes this country much safer. That's what the American people demand from President Trump. That's why the promises he made, and that's why I elected him. And I'm more proud. I'm like a kid in the candy store. I worked for the greatest president of my lifetime, and I'm not going away anytime soon, so I'm looking to work with all you. Congratulations, you and the immigration legislation. I know it's being litigated, but you'll win. So I look forward to your partners. And I got a lot of partners right here in the front row already. I worked with a lot of these folks. You're going to make Arizona safer. I'm here to help you. Anything you need, you let me know, and I'll be there. God bless you. God bless the state of Arizona. God bless President Trump. God bless the United States of America.